It was 10:30 in the morning on the 9th of November, 1979. 61-year-old Robert Taylor, who's a forestry worker, was working solo checking the gates and fences at Deckmont Woods in Livingston, Scotland. As he entered a clearing, he encountered something which would change his life forever. What happened next is known as the Deckmont Woods incident, and it's the only close encounter ever to lead to a criminal investigation by the police. Robert Taylor was a highly respected and well-trusted individual in his community. He was teetotal, he was a churchgoer, and he was a veteran of World War II. And he recounted what happened on that fateful day throughout his entire life, and never once did he deviate from his account. As he came into the clearing, he saw a large, dark metallic craft hovering just above the ground. It had a large dome at the top, and then a thick saucer around the bottom, and several stakes sticking into the ground. It was approximately 6 meters, that's 21 foot in diameter, and its surface looked rough like sandpaper. Before Robert had a chance to take in the full sight, he heard this terrifying metallic rumbling sound from inside the craft, and from either side of the craft, 2 spherical objects emerged that looked like sea mines, huge spheres with pointed metal parts coming out, and each one rolled out of the craft, and they proceeded to approach Robert at high speed, encircling it as they span over the ground and grabbed hold of Robert. They grabbed hold of his legs at the thighs and ripped and pulled him up and towards the craft. He was lifted up off the ground and then dragged towards the craft. He was then overpowered with a pungent smell of burning and sulfur, and he blacked out. After approximately 20 minutes, he came to and regained consciousness. The craft had gone, but it had left several strange markings on the ground, which the police would investigate, as you'll find out in a moment. Robert looked down at his clothing, and his clothing was completely ripped and torn. His trousers had huge rips and tears in, where these metal spheres had dragged him off to the craft. He had a pounding headache and felt nauseous and sick and completely dazed and confused. He'd also lost use of his legs and could no longer walk, and he had to drag himself back through the woods to where his truck was parked. He put the key in the ignition and turned it, but it wouldn't start. So then he tried to use the radio in his truck to contact his employer and let them know what had happened, but that didn't work either. Badly bruised, grazed, and shaken, he stumbled his way all the way home on foot, and he burst through the door of his house and announced to his wife, "I've just been attacked by a spaceship thing." His wife was shocked at the state of him, and she immediately called the police and a doctor. The local doctor came round to their house and treated his grazes on his chin and on his thighs, and recommended that he go to hospital to be thoroughly checked out and receive x-rays. He went to the hospital and waited 2 hours but wasn't seen, so he gave up and came back home, and that's when the police were there waiting for him, and they said, "Take us to the scene." So Detective Constable Ian Walk accompanied Robert to the scene of this incident with many other police. And when they arrived there, what they found is incredible. They found no fewer than 32 holes in the ground that correspond with the spikes from the rolling balls. There were also large linear depressions in the ground from a heavy craft that police described as weighing at least 3 tons. The strange thing, however, is that these tracks and these marks just appeared. The lead investigator even went to interview Livingston Development Corporation, which was Robert's employer, to see if they had any equipment or machinery that could have made these marks, and they confirmed they did not. Detective Constable Ian Walk said, and I quote, "These marks did not come from anywhere, and they did not go anywhere. It's as if they were made by something that landed from the sky, like a helicopter or something else. The police report stated that there had definitely been an object of several tons to make those marks, but there were no signs of it being towed or driven away. Police then conducted forensics on Robert's trousers, and they were tough serge trousers, the same type of trousers worn by the police and the army, very durable and very hard to damage or tear. The police forensics concluded that Robert had indeed been lifted up by some kind of spikes and dragged, but the dragging across the ground would not have damaged the trousers at all. The police concluded it must have been some kind of puncture wound or attack that had caused his trousers to be damaged in this way. The police opened a criminal investigation file, and it remained open until the day Robert died, aged 88. And exactly what happened in Decmont Woods on that day still remains a mystery.